Reviewing 10 low-cost video editors has turned out to be a bit of a daunting task, so I've broken it down to some simple principles. And if you don't want to go through all of these reviews, use the timestamps in the description below to jump to each of the different video editors that you're interested in. The tricky thing to evaluate is the different requirements you'll need based on your editing skills and the time you're prepared to learn the editing process. So with this in mind, I've come up with a list of the features that I consider necessary for the type of videos you'll be producing to promote your small business. I've added an extra feature, and that's ease of use. And since the rationale of this series of videos is to use the things you already own or are free to access, I've concentrated on the free video editors and only added those paid ones that fit into the low-cost basket. And this means that the professional video editors are not included. And for several reasons, really. They're more expensive, and by default, they need a considerable amount of time to learn those extra features. Added to that, the professional programs need to be used on a regular basis for you simply to remember how to do things. For a casual user, the simpler the better. And I'd like to point out here that just because a video editor is more feature-rich, it doesn't mean to say that it's better for you. You need to concentrate on the features you'll need in your normal day-to-day use. Anything extra is just a distraction. No point in wasting time going down rabbit holes that have no substantial benefits to you. If there are obscure things that you need to do infrequently, then maybe it's better for you to get a professional to do them for you. At the end of this video, I'll tell you the winners of the 3 categories. And these are the categories: beginners, easiest to use, feature-rich, all-rounder, and best features and the biggest learning curve. This is the list of video editors. Free with no watermarks or a time period: ShotCut, OpenShot, HitFilm Express, DaVinci Resolve, and iMovie, and Filmage video editor. And those low-cost editors, under $100, Wondershare Filmora, VideoPad, Movavi video editor, and all bar iMovie and Filmage are able to run on both Mac and Windows. And also from left field, I've added a web-based, fast and easy to use solution for short and snappy videos, and that's FlexClip. And it's important to mention that just because some of them are free, it doesn't mean to say they're inferior to the paid versions. For sure, all these editors will put a simple video together with no issues. And it mostly comes down to your personal preferences, and I'll point out things for you to look for as we go through the comparisons. From a starting point, I've taken the following as taken for granted. All applications do the basics. They import any footage, they add to a timeline where you can cut and shorten the clips, you can add transitions and text, and some will have more choices of transitions and better ways of handling text than others. All have some color correction ability and will allow a voiceover to be added to the audio, as well as the ability to extract audio from the video track. All will export at least HD, that's 1920 by 1080, and allow access to social media as well as standalone video files. So what are the other features that you should look for? And these are the items that I've specified as needed for promotional videos in each of the individual video editors. Audio meters to see your volume output, most important. Freely modified text. Multi-tracks, that's at least with 3 video tracks. Then there are 3 features that are needed when you're using extra audio recorders and a green screen to replace backgrounds. That's chroma green screen editing, audio sync, and the ability to mask part of your video track. The items in the bottom row are nice to have, but they're not going to affect this countdown of video editors. So let's look at the different applications now. And first, OpenShot. I like the ability to move the panels into different places, and import is easy from the File menu, or drag from your computer to the Project Files panel. Then they're dragged into the timeline. It's nice that automatic transitions are added when the clips are overlapped to the timeline. And extra tracks can be added by right-clicking in the track area. And things it doesn't have audio meters, it doesn't have multicam or the ability to sync audio. The text is modifiable, and titles are selected from the Titles menu and adjusted in the title editor, which adds them to the project's Files panel so they can be dragged into the timeline. Split screen can be achieved by cropping the tracks above and using the Properties panel. Green screen is selected with the chroma filter and then adjusted in the Properties. Select the colour you want to remove and then change the fuzz, starting at 180 and then adjust. It does have a stabilizer and it also allows keyframes. Overall impression? Well, even though I initially liked the ability to move the panels around, it can get confusing. Things are hard to find, and when you do find them, they can be a bit tricky to use. You can see the feature list above. This will be displayed for all the video editors in this tutorial, and if you'd like to review all of these and the full transcript, click the eye above for a link to the web page. And the next is ShotCut, and this application has a moderate to high learning curve. In its favour though, it does have a good feature set, including export up to 4K. It's also got multicam and it can keyframe. It's a little confusing to start with finding the open file command. However, there are quick views of the interface for different types of editing, like logging, editing, audio, and FX. First, create a project and then open a file to import footage. Select the clips and then they appear in the playlist. I personally like the ability to undock the interface panels. It does have multiple tracks for video and audio, and these can be added from the timeline menu bar. Text in the titles can be freely modified, and text is added as a filter. Select Rich Text, and then the options are on screen. Audio meters are there from the start, so there's no need to add any extra panels. Green screen ability is called chroma keying and is added from the filters menu, as is the masking feature. Audio sync can't be done automatically, so you'd need some distinctive sound or vision to be able to match up more than one clip. Next is HitFilm Express. This application is more logical and asks if you want to start from a new file or open an existing one, although it does push the add-on packs a bit hard at start, and that could confuse new users. Select New and it asks for some settings. Select 1080p or just press OK to move on. Once it opens up, select Import Media from the File menu. Select the Organize view from the Window menu. I found the interface easy to get around, and I like the ability to move panels around to where you want them, plus the ability to have them float or added as tabs in other windows. Clips can be dragged into the timeline, and multiple tracks can be added by right-clicking above or below the track in the sidebar. Audio meters need to be added from the Window menu. The titles are added by selecting the Set tool in the viewer, and as you drag in the viewer window, text is inserted above the track in the timeline. You can modify the text in the Text tab, which can be dragged into the Viewer tabs. Green screen can be selected in the Effects as Chroma under the Keying heading. Both audio and video can be synced, but multicam is an add-on. It comes in the Starter pack. Masks can be drawn using the Freehand Mask tool in the Viewer. I like this editor, all except the grey-white interface, but it's quite snappy and has an intuitive feel about it. And next is DaVinci Resolve. Resolve has a really sophisticated feel about it, and a first impression to notice is how easy it is to switch views, showing the different panels in the interface. The media view shows the content of your computer's disks, allowing you to add clips to the media pool. The cut view shows a view to pre-edit the clips, and the edit view shows you the timeline. Extra tracks can be added by right-clicking above or below the current tracks. Audio meters show at all times, and a mixer gives a bigger view. Titles are found in the Effects panel and can be displayed from the Show panel in the Workspace menu. Text is fully modifiable. Green screen is accessed from the OpenFX. It's called 3D Keyer. Select the OpenFX overlay below the viewer, and it's controlled in the inspector by using the eyedropper over the colour that you want to remove. Use softness to adjust. A split screen effect is easily achieved by using the video collage effect at the bottom of the FX Effects panel and then adjusting that in the inspector. External audio can be synced to the video track's audio in the media pool. Multicam can be actioned by selecting one or more clips in the media pool and then right-clicking to create a new multicam. Masks are actioned by selecting the Fusion view and then selecting a mask shape. Let's select a rectangle here and then back to the Edit menu to see the result. Even the free version of Resolve is very feature-rich, but the learning curve is massive. And more importantly, if you're not using the editor frequently, you'll need to remember how to do things. If you need to do a lot of editing, then this editor is well worth pursuing. And next, iMovie. As I mentioned, iMovie is Mac only, and it has the least amount of features. And that can be seen as a good thing, because you'll not be distracted by things you don't need. As indicated before, this means you'll be less likely to forget what to do. Ideal for those occasional editors. The other advantage of iMovie is that it's built into your Mac, and it's hands down the fastest application. It even flies on low-powered computers, which is certainly something you need to watch if you're thinking about a more powerful application, say like DaVinci Resolve. Add ease of use to the speed, and it's what you would expect from an Apple application. Select the plus, create new, import media or drag from your hard disk, drag clips into the timeline. There's no audio meters though, and this is a drawback, as you'll need to rely on your ears for volume level. Text is added from the Titles tab, and these are mostly pre-formatted options, so you don't need to make too many changes other than the text, the font, and the colour. My Media tab takes you back to your imported clips, and you can add a second video track which will allow picture-in-picture, split screen, and a green screen, though it won't allow combinations of those three. There's no ability to sync two audio sources, nor masking abilities other than the split and the picture-in-picture abilities. If you're an infrequent user and you want your edit to be quick and run smoothly on your Mac, iMovie's for you. And next, Wondershare Filmora. My first impression is of the similarities to the simplicity of iMovie, with similar terminologies like My Media tab and a similar type of magnetic timeline. It's easy to import clips, and as with other video editors, clips are dragged into the timeline. The extra tracks can be added with the Add button at the left of the timeline. Clips can be shortened and dragged around the timeline as simply as iMovie, and the magnetic timeline effect allows gaps to be removed between the clips. But different from iMovie, when the clips are dragged to another position, they stay in place, without that sometimes confusing snapping to a previous clip that you find in iMovie. To close the gaps, select all clips and right-click, select Close Gaps. Audio meters are at the right of the timeline and can be extended by clicking. Titles can be added from the Title menu, And there are two settings, default for available titles, plus film stock for template types, which are mostly paid-only versions though. The default titles have an enormous choice though. All are easily editable for font and normal text effects. Green screen is the most intuitive that I've seen, and if you select a clip in the timeline, the green screen is one of the options available for adjustment. Tick the checkbox and it's done. You do have some controls though if you need them, and I really like some of the more obscure features like beat detection, which is done in the project panel, and when you import it into the timeline, the beat markers are there, and you can choose how frequently you want the beats to occur. Split screen options are also extensive. Just drag the clips into the preset panels. Brilliant. I like this video editor, but it could be a little sluggish at times on my iMac. And next is VideoPad. While this is listed as a free video editor, the site states free version of VideoPad is available for non-commercial use only. So over to you. Start by selecting a new project. Imports are called add files. And there's the normal drag to the timeline. Extra tracks are added as you drag above the track in the timeline. Audio meters show above the timeline. And text is added from the top menus, add text. When the text is selected in the timeline, a separate text editor appears. Green screen is actioned by clicking the FX and selecting the colour to be removed. Audio and video recorded separately does not appear to be able to be synchronized. Masks can be created with the FX button on the clip, then clicking the crop thumbnail. As with Filmora, beats can be shown in the audio track. Right-click on the audio track. My overall impressions are that this software is a bit slow to react, at least on the Mac, as you can see in the demo. And the learning curve is higher than expected for an entry software package. Next, Movavi Video Editor. The first thing I noticed is the snappiness of this editor. It's similar to iMovie in its ease of use and friendliness. Clips are imported via the Add Files button or dragging from your disk. Clips come into the media bin and then can be dragged into the timeline. And there's a magnetic timeline similar to iMovie into Final Cut Pro. Extra tracks can be added by right-clicking above the current track. Titles can be added from the Titles side tab. Placing the playhead over the title will show the fully functional text editor. Audio can be synchronized between two clips. Select All Tools and Audio Editing after selecting the two clips in the timeline. Unfortunately, there's no audio meter facility though. The green screen is found in All Tools and Chroma Key. And again, in the All Tools area, masking can be achieved with the Highlights and Conceal command. This is an easy to understand and quick to learn editor with most of the features needed for a promotional video. It's only let down with no audio meters. And next, the Filmage video editor. My first impressions are that the layout of the panels are reminiscent of Final Cut Pro and Premiere, with a media browser, a viewer, a timeline, and inspector in the same locations. In fact, the audio meters are also shown in the same place. Click the small meters above the timeline and they show on the right. Clips are imported and appear in the media browser and are dragged into the timeline just as normal. Extra tracks can be added by right-clicking above the default track. Text is added from the Resources tab, as are stickers. The inspector allows modifications and even keyframes. There's no green screen ability, multicam, stabilisation or masking, so that's a bit of a bummer. However, the developers do say they'll be adding green screen and masking in the next upgrade. This is a speedy editor, but has limited features for separate audio editing with a green screen and just basic colour correction. It certainly will appeal to anyone who has used Premiere or Final Cut Pro, and you'll be editing very efficiently and quickly. And this could be a choice for iMovie users who want to step up to get an audio meter. It's only a little bit more of a learning curve than iMovie, but be aware you'll lose the green screen and stabilisation. And also note, Filmage is also a Mac-only program. And next is FlexClip. Well, FlexClip is a different way of thinking from a conventional editing program. It's template-based, and it'll suit businesses who just don't have the time or inclination to get involved or learn computer-based editing. Combine it with stock photos and videos, FlexClip may be the way to get a short video made in the shortest time possible. It's not as flexible as a normal video editing software, but look in this tutorial, but it is by far the quickest and the simplest way of getting a video made. FlexClip has got hundreds of templates that can be easily modified. And the winners. If you have been through all the 10 different applications, thanks for sticking with me. If you've just jumped in here, then this is where you'll find the most suitable video editors for producing promotional videos. I'll count down from the most obvious, and that's the best feature, biggest learning curve. And the winner, of course, is DaVinci Resolve. It's streets ahead of the others in features, but that certainly comes at a very steep learning curve. And amazingly, for a free application, Resolve has arguably the best colour grading functionality of any video application anywhere, and that includes all those paid ones. So if colour's your thing, well, that's a very good reason to look at Resolve. As most of you that are watching this video, though, are here to produce quick promotional videos, Resolve is overkill, but it does, hands down, win the Best Features Award. And next one is the Beginner's Easiest to Use winner. The overall winner of this category would be Filmage Video Editor. Were it not for the fact that Filmage is Mac only, it just pips iMovie in that it does have audio meters, which in my mind is a must-have feature anyway. So the award needs to be shared with the next best, which is a Mac and Windows editor, Movavi Video Editor. So the shared winners, Movavi Video Editor and Filmage Video. And finally, the feature-rich Allrounder. And for me, this is the ultimate winner, as it fits in the low-cost category at $80 for the Evermore license, and it's easy to learn, and it's the most feature-rich after DaVinci Resolve, without the learning curve. The winner? Wondershare Filmora. Even if you do find Filmora is a little sluggish on your computer, I didn't mention in the review that the video quality can be lowered just while editing to overcome any sluggishness on your computer, and then when you export it, it comes out at the full resolution. Filmora is great for the beginner, but be aware that organisation of footage is not its strong point, so complex projects will get messy and a bit disorganised. Other than that, there's nothing that you would not like about Filmora. And it's easy to use, a real winner. On this basis, I'll be using Filmora for all my tutorials for both Mac and Windows users for the rest of this tutorial series about video marketing for small business. I suggest you download the trial now and follow me through. And also have a look at this tutorial, the Essentials for Filmora. Click the eye above. As always, I'm here to help. So if you need assistance on a specific topic, I offer free support via email for urgent issues that you're confronted with. Click the eye above for a link to my free support site. Otherwise, let me know in the comments below about topics you struggle with, and I'd be happy to produce a YouTube video to help you solve those issues. And don't forget, I'm also available for one-on-one internet training. Group and one-on-one training courses are shown on my website, videoeditoz.com.au. So thanks for watching, and if you haven't done so already, please like, subscribe, and press the bell.